Dax was about 5 or 6 months old, and I could tell something just wasn't right. I kept taking him in to Dr. Ambrosen, our local pediatrician, and trying to explain to him what he was doing. His eyes were doing weird things. His little body was straining like he needed to go poop, but he wasn't constipated. Dr. Ambrosen kept reassuring me that Dax was going to be just fine, that it's been 10 years since I'd had River, my son, and I'm just being a nervous mama. And the morning of July 23rd, 2015, Dax woke up completely limp and lethargic. We lifted him out of his crib, his little arms were just hanging, and we immediately rushed him into our local ER at St. Joe's. They said that he was having seizures, and they immediately life-flighted us to Sacred Heart in Spokane. After months of following Sacred Heart's plan of trying different medications to get this to work, everything was making it worse. He was having like true seizures. His eyes were rolling back in his head. He was puking. He was hallucinating. He didn't know who we were. And I finally just said, no, we're done trying this. Dax is not going to be your guinea pig. We need to figure out something else. A friend of mine asked me, Laura, have you heard about CBD oil? Maybe you guys should look into that. In 2015, I've never heard of CBD oil before. So I started researching it, and at that time I was just at, our family, we were at our rope's end. We were desperate to try anything because after the 6 different pharmaceutical drugs that we tried with our neurologist, nothing was working. Everything was making it worse. And so I made the phone call and ordered our first bottle of Charlotte's Web hemp oil. I was really worried about what are people going to think when we give our baby cannabis oil. I finally mustered up enough courage to talk to our neurologist about it, and he was kind of put out that we weren't going to follow his treatment plan anymore. And he left the door open just a smidge, and he said, well, if you're going to do that, I suggest that you find the naturopath doctor that works with the Seattle Children's Hospital and contact them. So I had to do some more digging and some more research on my own, and I was finally able to track down Dr. Michelle Sexton.
Yeah, the side effects that I do hear about are usually positive side effects, like less anxiety, improved growth or fine motor skills, increased verbalization, better eye contact, improved concentration. Those are the side effects I tell parents to be watchful for.
So Dr. Sexton helped us with the dosing with the Charlotte's Web hemp oil to get started. And from that point on, I felt like we were actually going to get the help that we needed. I had this bottle of Charlotte's Web hemp oil in my china hutch for a good month, and the whole thought of giving Dax cannabis oil, I just could not get past this. We are raising teenagers at our house. What are we gonna tell them? What are we gonna tell our friends, our family? At this point, Dax's episodes were constant. And when I mean constant, we only had a couple good days out of a month, and those good days were him sleeping. Dax was in a terrible episode and had been for one of his bad ones for probably about a week at this point. And I finally broke down and gave him his first dose of the Charlotte's Web hemp oil. It was April 29th. I'll never forget that. And I gave it to him in the evening. He fell asleep like he normally does at bedtime, and he woke up in the morning. Usually we have about 30 minutes of goodness, I would say, before his episodes start back up, and nothing happened. Like, his episodes didn't start back up. And from that point on, we had a solid 2 weeks with no episodes. I was in kind of this disbelief, but I was thinking we have a miracle happening. Dr. Michelle Sexton put us in contact with one of her colleagues in Bellevue. She immediately took a look at Dax and said, "This is not epilepsy." I deal with epilepsy on a daily basis with pediatrics and adults, and this is definitely something different. So Michelle had Selena write, it's called a medical card, and it's an actual prescription for medical grade CBD oil. It took about a month for us to actually get in to Seattle Children's for a second opinion. And when we got there, Dax just happened to go into a full episode. And they said that, this is not epilepsy. Dr. Ming is our neurologist at Seattle Children's, and she said we definitely need to do more genetic testing, and she thinks that his diagnosis is going to be alternating hemiplegia of childhood. Also, Seattle Children's, they got us into Duke University, that they also specialize in this particular gene mutation. We received our genetic test back, and with the confirmation that Dax does have the APT-A13 gene mutation, confirming the diagnosis. We are currently giving Dax 2 milliliters of CBD oil a day. He takes 5 milligrams of flunarizine a day, an iron supplement. Dax eats a whole foods diet. So I give him a multivitamin and some extra omega. We really try to control his environment. Overstimulation is a huge trigger. So those are currently the things that we are doing for Dax. When we started Dax on CBD oil, our episodes were constant to every 2 weeks. And then we went from every 2 weeks to 4 weeks. We started the whole foods diet, and we were going 6 to 7 weeks. We added flunarizine, and that seemed to make his episodes less severe when he would have them. And currently we are at 5 months since Dax has had a full-on episode. Dax will still lose his motor skills occasionally and have weak days, but for the most part, his quality of life has drastically improved. CBD oil has helped Dax with aggression, with his sleep cycle, his appetite. When Dax is having an episode, his little brain is glitching out, and I feel like CBD oil has helped smooth that and balance his body so he can have more good days. Once Dax's episode started slowing down, he was able to start walking. He's been able to start talking. Yes, he's still behind on his cognitive level, but he has made leaps and bounds of where he was a year ago. So looking back, I was very reluctant to share Dax taking CBD oil, but now we have the support of our local pediatrician, the school, our neurologist. Everybody can see how much Dax's quality of life has improved from where we originally started.